wonder why I'm able to hear the audio from the trucks this week, but last week I wasn't able to. Like through the Discord call. Oh, gotcha.
Alright, good evening, SRU fans and drivers who are watching here tonight. Tonight we head to North Wilkesboro, which was, ironically enough, 2 weeks ago. This is where they were in real life. Race number 9, 125 laps. And alongside of me tonight is Will. Good evening, Will.
Yes, good evening, Brian. North Wilkesboro this evening, like you said. I believe 78 miles total distance of the laps here that will be completed. I believe we have 14 drivers out here tonight to make the field, or to make the grid. It will definitely be an intriguing and interesting race, I do believe, here. They always seem to be at North Wilkesboro.
Yes, sir, indeed. Well, unfortunately, iRacing doesn't have the up-to-date version of North Wilkesboro because they couldn't, unfortunately, get there. So I do see Zach Deuscher and Philip Bridger ran the same identical time. Props for the teammates there. But yes, well, iRacing wasn't able to get back to the track in the recent weeks because due to the racing that was going on there prior couple of that. So I'm going to go over a little rest day information real quick, and then we'll let you go ahead over the history of North Wilkesboro for those who don't know nothing about it. Anyway, the race information here tonight, as we see here, it is in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, 2 hours away, shall we say. Half-mile track. Current weather there is 79 degrees Fahrenheit, 53% humidity, partly cloudy with a 2-mile-per-hour wind. 125 laps, 79 miles. You get unlimited tires, 2 fast repairs, 3 attempts at a green-white checker, 75% fuel, and stage brake on lap 40. Now I'm going to hand it over to Will. Will give you a thorough rundown of North Wilkesboro and the history about it for those of you who don't know, because those are always good information to know. In case we get asked questions throughout the broadcast about the track, Will, go ahead and take it away.
Yes, North Wilkesboro, very famous old short track over there in the southeast of the great state of North Carolina. Been around for such a long time, since the late 1940s. It originally started as a dirt track. It stayed a dirt track for about a decade, maybe a little bit more than a decade. Then they decided to pave it. As we see Terry Duguay there having a moment on his qualifying lap. But yes, they finally decided to put some tarmac on it, pave it, and you kind of go uphill then downhill. It's not really a flat track at all. It's a very distinct oval. NASCAR raced here all the way up until 1996. Then they took a bit of a hiatus And then they, as Brian mentioned at the top of the show, they were just here just a couple of weeks ago. The Craftsman Truck Series and the NASCAR Cup Series. The Cup Series had their All-Star race. Trucks had a points-paying race here. But yes, looks vastly different than what the simulated 1970s, 80s criteria here in iRacing does. But nevertheless, it almost looks like a completely different track almost if you look at them in a picture side by side. But still, they still race the same. But in this qualifying session, yes, Deutscher and Bridgman, the teammates, ran the exact same lap time, and Paul Witt, Jason Adams, and Terry Duguay, all three of those drivers ran the same exact lap time, it looks like. Terry trying to improve on that lap. But at the moment, David Cassidy has the provisional pole. I do believe he will win the pole.
I do believe
at the moment, 8 out of the 14 competitors have made a lap. So that might be all we get here is 8 out of the 14. So a little over half the field qualifying. And Brian will have the starting grid.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Will, for all that wonderful knowledge that these fans heard and was probably helpful to them. So, starting first, we got Terry Duguay. Sorry, not Terry. Wow. Dave Cassidy. Second place, Zach Deutscher. P3 will be Philip Bridgman. P4 will be Paul Witt. P5 will be Jason Adams. P6 will be Terry. P7 will be Eric Jensen. P8 will be Mike Chamberlain. P9 will be Joshua Caudle. P10, the man, the myth, Jim Coleman-Sperger. 11th is Paul Coheen. P12 will be Mark Kosick. P13 will be Michael Palmer. P14 will be Rob Cheswick. And P15, their newcomer, Jason Cavney.
And if I'm not mistaken, the all-time driver with the most wins at this facility would be Richard Petty. I believe he had 15 wins here at North Wilkesboro. I think, might be mistaken, and I think Daryl would be behind him. I think Daryl won here 10 times. Daryl Waltrip, that is. I'm trying to remember all the stats and statistics. It's alright, I have so many roaming around up here in the brain and the noggin without having to Google search anything. I believe fuel will not be an issue here this evening. I do believe these truckers are getting, I think, 135 to 140 miles per, or laps, excuse me, I was about to say miles per gallon. So tire wear mainly will be the only concern, who can conserve those tires the longest. So I'm pretty sure everybody will, once that stage break happens, everybody will want 4 tires. You don't really want to take 2 here. If you take 2 on a restart, you're going to probably get caught out unless you were able and willing to know and stay up front with those, with just those 2 tires from the left sides being worn. But we'll just have to wait and see how this race plays out. It's somewhat of a long race, 125 laps, so getting warmed up here on this initial pace lap. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
No, that's all right. Yes, sir, indeed. They are coming to green this time. I was about to ask you who would be your sleeper in this round of things.
Well, sleeper would probably have to be the 5 truck of Philip Bridgman. He normally is consistently good here just about every time I've ever seen him race at North Wilkesboro. I know he's starting in that P3. Gonna have to see how Paul Witt is here. I know he's isn't the greatest at short tracks. Short tracks are kind of his kryptonite, as you will, as far as I have seen. But Terry Duguay, if he can keep his truck clean, he could probably come home with a top 5, maybe a podium finish. Jason Adams looks good throughout practice, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, sir. As the pace car pulls off and the green flag is out. As you see there. Oh, looks a little cloudy there tonight.
Yeah, a bit of an overcast for the race weather settings, I guess you could say. Just vastly different from what it looked like in qualifying and practice. Very sunny in the practice and qualifying. Not sure how much this will affect. Well, it will affect the track handling, maybe just a little bit with the colder temperature on track, because that sun not being out won't heat up the track as much. So maybe it might have a slight effect on the tire temperature, trying to get the tires up to temp where they need to be. David Cassidy, though, pole sitter in the opening laps of this race, trying to pull out to a comfortable margin as everybody's jockeying for position behind him.
Yes, sir, indeed. As you see these two side by side, you wouldn't want to be side by side for periods of long time, because that would tend to do some wear and tear on tires. You see there, Paul Witt. Oh man! Slowly, abruptly scraped the wall, came across Jason. Terry DeGay's fixing to go underneath the wall and take that position away from Jason. Remember, lap 40, I do believe, is the stage break. Tires are a big key here. This old surface is rough on the tires, that is for sure. I've done plenty of official races here. It is rough on the tires.
Yes, race break is at lap 40. These laps can go by pretty quickly, so you gotta kind of pace yourself here, and also kind of pace yourself with the tire management. Like you said, tires very crucial here. The surface can chew them up and spit them out. At the moment, though, Paul Witt probably might be, I don't know if he's the biggest mover. I think he's kind of only moved up a couple of spots, but
nope, Paul Witt stayed in fourth.
oh, yeah, okay.
At the moment right now, the biggest mover is Jim up 2 spots. Jim
Okay,
and
my
Palmer.
apologies. Yep.
Oh, you're alright, you're good.
Everybody kind of single file, I believe, back to about, what is that, 7th? And then there's a little bit of a tussle back there behind Mike Chamberlain for 8th and 9th, I do believe. As Philip is getting passed here by both Paul and Jason. Good little scrimmage going on back here further in the field, though.
Yes, sir, indeed. I see there Paul Witt getting by Jason Adams there. Pacing himself. It's a very long race. No need to push early. That is for sure. I know I wouldn't.
Not too sure what happened to the 26 and 51. Maybe they weren't able to load into the race, probably. And that could be what happened there. Mike Chamberlain already making an unscheduled pit stop. Possibly either could have spun out into the pits or could have slammed the wall pretty hard and just brought it down pit road already. Not too sure what happened to the 70 machine.
Or it could have been when Terry maybe might have gotten loose, and then he could have maybe played a little factor there. So, see a lap down car playing spoiler here.
So David Cassidy, David Cassidy, 15 laps into this race, has a 2 1/4 second lead over Zach Deutscher in that 21 machine. and good tussle. Chamberlain kind of being a pick at the moment in between the the third place battle between Witt and Adams. Chamberlain's going to have a little bit fresher tires, so he should hopefully, in theory, be able to kind of get away from him. Maybe drive back, get one of his laps back, maybe. As we can just see the pace that David Cassidy has, he's kind of already coming up on Terry, but like you said, him and Chamberlain kind of got together, and that's kind of what got Terry way back here off the pace.
Yeah. But Terry's pretty good. Terry and David are short track guys. They know how to finesse around these short tracks pretty well, so those are the two that I would really keep my eyes on. Really, if Terry don't go a lap down, he should be alright. Terry did pretty good last night in the Gen 4s here. He finessed it around there pretty well.
Yeah, I was about to say, basically at North Wilkesboro, you gotta have that finesse capability to your driving style. You can't really get back in the throttle too soon. You got to come off the corner just right. And like I said, there is some various slight elevation changes to these corners. Dropping down hill ever so slightly, then gradually coming back up it, and then dropping down again. If we could get a good onboard shot, maybe we might be able to illustrate what we're trying to say or kind of show, but I believe this is the second place driver of Zach Deuscher's onboard here. And you can kind of get a feel for the slight banking there. I believe it's 8 degrees of banking on these corners. Maybe 10, if that. I believe it's 8.
I think it is 8.
And you can just see though how much of a degree of banking that kind of is, even for a short track like North Wilkesboro. And you can see that going downhill kind of into turn 1, and then, if I'm not mistaken, you're driving back up it on the back straightaway, then you dive back into the corner. So great illustration, as I mentioned, riding on board. Now, lots of drivers dealing with a mixture of conditions. Every driver has their own driving style, so some are dealing with understeer and others are dealing with oversteer, so mixture of tight and loose conditions for these drivers. But that also goes back to that finesse that we talked about. So Paul Witt up here now in third place, challenging Zach Deuscher. It seems that Paul has put in some practice here at the short tracks as of recent in order to kind of be running where he is, I would say, in third place at the moment. So that's good to see Paul not really struggling, I guess you could say, because like I kind of mentioned, it kind of seemed like short tracks just wasn't his forte, but seems like he's gradually getting better at it.
Yeah.
I kind of... Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. Darlington was another rough one for him.
Oh, yes.
That's when we talked to him about that one, too. Darlington's rough. That's just a driver's track. You gotta find the groove. Same thing with short tracks. All groove. If you can get in the groove, you'll be alright. And you'll slowly pick them off one by one, and you'll notice you start to pull little by little by little. Because everybody else tries so hard to run down the leader, by now they burnt their stuff up, and that's that. So, coming to 9 more laps to go before their stage break. See what happens within then.
And that's just about how it is as well here at North Wilkesboro. You don't want to really charge up too quick and burn your stuff up too early. You want to try to have something in reserve for a little bit later in the run if it comes down to long run capabilities in the race. As we have seen Mike Chamberlain, he may not have the pace, but he trying to stay out of the battle that was around him for that second place. But sometimes, that slower traffic or the lap cars or trucks, they're on the same track as you, so you can't really, you got to navigate around them. But unfortunately, sometimes, they are also in a way used as a pick. That terminology basically when you can kind of pinch your competitor behind that lap car, that slow traffic, and kind of get a bit better angle around that person you're battling with.
Oh yeah, but Paul Witt slowly reeling in Cassidy. I'm not sure if Cassidy has caught any of the traffic at the moment. I'll have to go up there and see here.
I think he still has at least a second or two before he catches Mark Kossick in the 33 machine. At least another second, I believe. But biggest loser since the opening stanza of this race, I would have to say, might have to be Bridgman or maybe Terry Duguay. One of the two. You just might have to pick one because what you mentioned, Terry and Mike kind of somewhat coming together, we do believe, and then that led Chamberlain coming down pit road, and that's what lost Terry some track position. Then Phillip, it kind of takes him, I would say, the opening part of a race to kind of get the feel for the race. Then he normally tries to make a charge back. So let's wait and see after this race break what Phillip may have in store for his competitors. As we can see, Jim Coleman'sberger, biggest mover of the race, like we mentioned earlier. He's all the way up into 5th position, cracked himself into the top 5. He has brought along that 99 machine as Terry Duguay got out of the way. So
he's up 5 spots from where he started, that's for sure.
Kossick and Duguay 1 lap down, Chamberlain still 2. So Chamberlain was not able to drive up and get a lap back.
That's correct, and that will do a stage break here. What's that?
So yes, stage break coming out here, lap 40. So give these drivers a chance to kind of regroup. Maybe if they, think that they can kind of maybe change up a line or maybe change up their style just a tad bit. Maybe see if they can gain anything here once they get back going green. I almost really like old North Wilkesboro because, as we can see, they're coming down pit road. They don't have a pit wall that the pit crews have to hurdle over. It just right there, and then you jump out and or jump off the dirt onto the concrete and service the truck or car and get it back going again.
Yep.
So, looks like it's going to be Cassidy, Witt, and Deuscher coming out of the pits. How they entered. Coleman'sberger looks like he might...
Who's this?
No, okay. No, Perry's got a pit. Or he might have got the weight. No, yeah, he still have to pit.
Yeah, I told let's see, we're gonna wait real quick just to make sure. No, okay. Talk to David real quick. Cassidy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, boys.
How's it going, buddy?
That's what I do.
Well, I see you're up here kicking ass still, so, I mean, that's that. How's that truck handling for you tonight with that clean air?
I'm a little tight. Trying to do a little bit of brake adjustment while I'm going there. Seems to be helping, but Paul was catching me there. I burned up my tires there. Notice I only down to 76% after that run, so hopefully try to conserve them a little bit.
Right. Alright, well, you got anything for Dave before we send him on his way?
What exactly, David, explain real quick, what exactly can you do to conserve those tires to make them last just a little bit longer for you?
Truthfully, I have no idea. I cannot save tires. I don't know. I have no idea.
Thanks for the honesty, David, and best of luck to you, so go get them, man.
Okay, thanks.
Well, honesty's always the best policy.
Yeah. As you see here, Cassidy takes him back to green flag. The green flag is waving here tonight at North Wilkesboro for the SRU Truck Series here tonight as David Cassidy leads it going into turn 22. Paul Witt, boy, he hangs on that outside there. He can get it.
Yeah, Paul's trying to do everything he can on that outside lane to try to take that lead away from David. Like I said earlier, it seems like he's put in a lot of time and practice in at the short tracks, at least North Wilkesboro for that matter. So he said last week, if I'm not mistaken, he he hasn't even earned a lap here. So looks like he's done at least a good few. So he's taking the fight to Cassidy, that is for sure at the moment, as Boisier's having a bit of a blinking moment. Hopefully not too many more of those. Top four, just throw a good blanket over the top four here. Cassidy, Witt, Boisier, and Adams. As Coleman'sberger trying to stay within reason, as he has pretty much everybody else behind him. But good battle going on here on this restart, or since the restart.
Yes, sir.
Witt is still hanging on that outside somehow or another. He has found some good grip out there.
Normally Philip uses that outside lane.
Yeah.
Hey, last season or the season before that, the BNR side of things, Philip was outside majority of the whole race. Just old tires,
I remember that.
Tires, what got it around whipped, and unfortunately, and new tires, that probably would have helped him out a lot. But hopefully, he won't make that mistake again.
I believe Philip also lost some track position in that pit stop exchange under that caution, so he down in 10th position at the moment, back there battling with Palmer.
Yes.
At least looks like it at the moment. So Paul Witt, David Cassidy still side by side trying to figure out which one going to come out on top of this one, as Boisier trying to find out a good lane for him. Not sure which one he wants to be in, trying to find a groove that settles for him, as Jason Adams just kind of lurking, watching this top three battle play out. He's somewhat a part of it. Jim Coleman'sberger, like I said, still back there in 5th position, lurking. For the most part on a short track, if you can still see the leader, it's just really good to still lurk around. Something happened to Terry again. He's back in 12th. I believe he was up in 8th since the restart, but he might have got loose here, or maybe dragged the wall. We're not too sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think back and look real quick.
Paul Witt almost had him cleared.
There it is again.
Yep, got loose, got down. Oh, hit the Armco pretty good on that back straightaway. No caution came out because he went into the grass, but the truck was facing backwards. You would have thought a caution would have flown, but iRacing said no way and kept it green. Paul Witt still out there on the outside. They're coming up to Terry. How will they be able to navigate past Terry? Terry has some pretty good damage on that truck. This looks like it's going to benefit Cassidy, as Paul Witt might get stuck. Oh, wow. Never mind. I take back what I was going to say. Looks like everybody kind of navigated around Terry pretty good. I was almost going to say pretty goodly, but I think goodly's a word, so let's not go there. That sounded bad. Anyway, so that had to, Paul Witt had to kind of just get in line behind Cassidy. Yes, he did. That was a big moment for Paul Witt coming off of turn 4, trying to get the throttle down.
Caution is out. Back and take a look and see what had happened. So Chamberlain.
Oh. Well, that was a definite harder hit than Terry had, so for sure iRacing thought, yep, he bounced back in the track, ricocheted like a bullet off of a piece of metal there, so right back onto the racing surface, and iRacing was like, yeah, that was a bigger crash, let's throw the caution out that time. Terry should have just been a bit more faster, and maybe he could have got the caution out whenever he bounced out the guardrail, but his truck didn't kind of cover up a racing lane there, so.
Oh, I think Cheswick beat Cassidy out.
Did Cheswick take 2 tires? Looks like possibly 2-tire Cheswick, perhaps. As
behind Cassidy. That was
yep, just it was a big jump. I believe he was running P9 or 8, so that jumps him at least 7 spots up, I do believe, from where he was running at time of caution.
Oh, never mind. He's coming back in.
Oh. Maybe he thought, okay, yep, that was just a mistake. I need those left sides.
I would say.
So with that wreck, that leaves us with just 12 competitors out here on the track. Chamberlain has decided to put it in the hauler after that wreck of his. I don't blame him. That just seems like a really tough day, and didn't want to make it any tougher than what it already had been, so I'd probably feel the same way about that.
Well, Mr. Witt, I was going to talk to you real quick, but you guys are going back to green, so I'll talk to you next caution.
Okay.
My apologies, I didn't know we brought somebody in.
No, you're fine. It doesn't make that noise like it used to. I gotta fix that.
Well, I heard it, but I didn't pay any attention to it. I was too busy.
You're right. No, you're fine.
Yep, back to the green flag. Like you said, Zach had a bit of another blinking moment there, but Let's see if Paul's going to be able to hang tough on that outside again like he did. Otto up here in P4 inside the top 5 in that 25 machine. The highest he's been all evening. Jason Adams kind of fell a little bit farther back on that exchange of pit stops under this caution, fell back to 9th position, so gonna be a bit busy work for Jason to try to make his way up through the field here.
Oh yeah.
As no, not at all. It can be a very tough track to pass at, but other people can make it look very simple and easy. Decent battle going on at the moment between the 29 and 21 machines in second place, second and third. And then Jim Coleman'sberger running up on the back of the 25, just letting him know, hey, I'm here. But Jim also giving him plenty of room, though.
Just in case if there's a slip up in front, that breathing room to finesse around with if he has to. But you see there, Jim Coleman'sberger trying to get to the border of Caudle. Obviously, he's a little bit faster in some places, but that comes with being patient. Yesterday in the Gen 4 side of things, Jim had a great battle. And unfortunately, just, old surface. And tore up some tires a bit and couldn't capitalize at the end. But brought home P3, and that was Jim's first one in the Gen 4 at Wilkesboro, so I was happy for him. So he ended up getting it done. So I told him, I said, hey, use what you used last time, maybe you can do it here. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, those Gen 4 cars have way more horsepower and drive a little bit different from what these Craftsman trucks do. But still, any track time on the same track is learning. So, like you said, hopefully he can take what he learned last night and apply it to tonight in some way, shape, or form, and come away with a decent finish.
Man, I can see here Jim Coleman'sberger to the back of Caudle, but he's got Jason Adams up the back tail end of Coleman'sberger. So, eventually Coleman'sberger's going to say, hey, but I'm here, and I have to go.
Yes, because Jason Adams, like you said, is there kind of intruding on that battle that Jim is having with Caudle. But now it's a 3-truck battle for this, what is that, 4th position. So they are just over 3 seconds off the race pace of the leader, David Cassidy. Paul Witt actually almost has ran Cassidy somewhat down. He is still a second back though, so not completely there yet, but almost, as we close in on what is that, about 45 to go. Oh, I think we got a caution, Brian.
I do believe so.
Yes, I think, oh man, I think Phillip was getting loose coming out of turn 2, for sure got loose, and unfortunately, oh man, Terry's bad night just keeps getting worse. I believe that was the 99. The 99 that came in and got Phillip right there in the driver door, and then Terry just couldn't really turn down away in time. He was already committed to that lane. that just so happened to be where Philip's truck was spinning at the moment, towards the wall. So,
really fast.
yep.
Mr. Paul, how are you, sir?
Doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Well, your first time on this short track. How do you like it?
I hate it.
Oh, man.
I hate it, but I'm having fun. To go.
Yeah, you look like you're really able to hang on that outside for a good few laps, good handful of laps. Just can't ever seem to clear Cassidy. Once you do, he's always right there. I had a question for you, Paul. How much preparation did you take coming into tonight?
None.
Oh, okay.
I had none. I actually ended up working late and everything like that, so I couldn't even get in here at 6:30 when it opened. I didn't show up till almost 7 o'clock, so that's all I've had.
Well, by the looks of things, I mean, it could have fooled me, Paul, is all I've got to say. Could have fooled me.
I guess it's just beginner's luck.
Could be. Well, best of luck to you there, beginner.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
He's a great guy.
Yes, has a good sense of humor.
Oh, Koshik stayed out. That's
Yes, Mark Koshik did stay out, but he's kind of a rolling chicane at the moment.
Something cause friction back there in that pack there. Now you can see that.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier in the show about if you were going to take two tires or maybe stay out, how big or how much that may hurt you if you do. And we just see Mark just kind of drop like a rock to water as everybody just kind of blew by him on the restart there.
Oh yeah, you see Jason Adams now in P4.
Yeah, Jason kind of back there, basically where he started. I believe he started P5, so now he got back into that top 5, trying to chip away a little bit more. As we look back here, Palmer. Back here a little bit further back is these competitors back here still fighting hard everywhere you look.
Oh yeah. Koshik, Palmer, Coleman-Sperger, Bridgman, DeGay, Cheswick.
Cautions really seem to kind of kill Coleman-Sperger's runs. Doesn't really matter where he's racing, what track he's at. Jim kind of seems like that long run type of guy. He really needs those long runs, Brian.
Yes, he does. If we can get him, that'll be great. I'll take it in.
Dude.
Koshik in the wall.
I do believe we might have a decent battle going on for second place between Deutscher and Witt. I think. Never can tell, though.
As they both keep clipping that wall there.
Yeah, you kind of want to make a good arc into the corner the best you can into turn 3, and sometimes you just might kiss that wall just a tad bit.
Alright, see there again, you hear it? Boom, right in the wall as that goes. Leaving that little smoke cloud.
Yeah, you don't really want to do that too many times, nor do you really want to do it at all. But sometimes, like I said, you want to get the best arc you can into the corner, and that's just kind of the net result of trying to widen the track out as much as possible. That's why they have walls at racetracks. You know, you got to have a boundary at some point. Well, I mean, some short tracks don't even have like a backstretch wall or you know, like your local short tracks, they may not have a. There's another racetrack up there. It's a short track, either in South Carolina, North Carolina. Well, there's
Hickory?
a handful of them up there. It might be Hickory that I'm thinking of, but
Or
no,
Concord?
Hickory. You know, Brian, I can't remember to save my life at the moment, but you know where I'm talking about. That
Yeah.
it's kind of got like a slope down the back straightaway.
Concord.
It's got this hill. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, but
It's like a mini.
yeah,
I think of it as like a mini Pocono. Boy, but it's just very steep, and it really doesn't have a wall, but you can only go so far, and then that's that. But
then you're out in the woods. But decent battle here between Deutscher and Paul Witt. Jason Adams trying to come up and be a part of it. And this is second and third. Oh, wow. Big slidey, drifty moment for Paul Witt. Going out of turn 2, he gathered it back up really well and didn't go down and meet Armco.
yes. A little interesting fact, I did see that they're fixing to bring back Rockingham for a points-paying event.
Oh, that is fantastic news to hear. If that,
I think I want to say that they were trying to do all 3, but they said they're not too sure because they actually just repaved it. And I'm only 25 minutes from the track, which is beautiful. I love it. I would take 25 minutes, then 2.5 hours. Trust me. But they just recently repaved it, so you got all new pavement on there. They said seating could be a problem, so they wouldn't know if they could bring the Cup cars there, but if they do what North Wilkesboro did, they can do it. So, hopefully they do. We'll just have to wait and see.
Rockingham is one of the few independent-owned racetracks still. I don't think SMI owns it at the moment. There was talks.
Speedway?
Do what?
I think Speedway Motorsports owns it, I think.
That's SMI, Brian. I didn't know SMI owned it. I thought it was still. I thought it was like Pocono and Watkins Glen. Well then, okay.
I believe so. I could be wrong though, but I do believe that's who owns that one.
Well, if SMI owns it, they should be able to put the necessary resources into making it a better facility. There's some videos and some channels you could look up on YouTube. Stapleton 42, I believe. You could look that YouTube channel up. He went to Rockingham and kind of did a tour of it. Oh, Terry had a moment as the 99 was navigating by. Jensen was navigating by Terry. Terry kind of clipped the grassy curb. I know there's no curbs, but the grass is basically a self-policing curb. Well, it kind of is a curb, but Phillip not really having the race I thought he was going to have earlier on. I kind of expected Phillip to be more of a contender in the top 5, but just based off of recent races we have seen Bridgman run here in the past, but just not really having one of those runs like he used to, Brian, at the moment. So Terry back up in 7th place. So got back around Jensen.
So SMI used to own Rockingham. They don't own it no more. It is now.
Oh, okay, you did it.
It is now Rockingham Properties.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I thought. I know back in the day, yeah, like you said, they used to co-own it or like help keep up
Yeah.
the speedway, I guess you could say. But as far as I always kind of knew, it was basically one of the few independent-owned racetracks, like Pocono, Watkins Glen. I'm trying to think of a couple of others that might
Kentucky?
still be. No, Kentucky's SMI.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But and North Wilkesboro falls in that category as well of SMI owned tracks. They have a lot, that is for sure. They take care of a lot of track property across this country, not just in the southeast, but pretty much across the country. They help either take care or facilitate or bring the necessities that these tracks need. I see the 99 of Jensen had a moment there as he gathered it back up and makes the charge back at Cottle.
Yep.
So closing in on 10 laps to go, Brian, and David Cassidy still in the lead. Coming to the closing stage of this race. He has a comfortable, just over a second lead. That's comfortable enough, but still, as a race leader or a racer, you would still want it to be a little bit bigger of a buffer or a cushion, but still, that's probably good enough at the moment. Talking to Zach Deutscher earlier, he didn't really think he had a top 3 truck. He was thinking he probably wouldn't have a long run capable machine, but it seems like he has been able to fend off Paul Witt successfully.
Oh yeah. Like I think
What lap were you on?
Lap 9.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, 9 to go.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're right. All I was going to say is Cassidy's putting a nice butt smacking to these boys out here. Ace, like I said, once again, he's the short track king over here. He enjoys his short tracks. He's not too fond of the 1.5 miles and the super speedways, that's for sure. He'll drive them if he has to, but otherwise he's a short track type of person here.
Bridgman got past Cottle and tried to make a little bit of headway. So 8th, 9th, and 10th still duking it out though behind Bridgman, as Jensen and Cottle keep exchanging positions.
Oh yeah, 6 to go. I'm gonna say Cassidy's got this all wrapped up in a bag here.
Well, if a late race caution was to occur, stack them back up, re-rack them. Something might happen, but you never can tell. It looks like clear sailing for Cassidy, like you said.
Four to go here. Cassidy, Deutscher, Witt, Adams, Coleman, Springer, DeGay, Bridgman, Jensen, Otto, Palmer, Cheswick, Koshik, And then you got Chamberlain, Cavney, and Cohen. Coming to 3 laps to go here. Oh, that was saying 2. Alright, there we go.
Yes, and this should be white flag lap for David Cassidy as he comes off at turn 4 to get the white flag, it looks like. Yes, indeed, flagman waves the flag. So this is the last lap. Like we mentioned, David Cassidy, outstanding performance here tonight, set it on the pole, pretty much dominated this race. He had a couple of challengers there, but nobody could really take the lead away from him, and he will win this evening's race at North Wilkesboro in the SRU Truck Series. Like you said, Zach Deuscher second, Paul Witt third, Jason Adams, Jim Coleman'sberger fourth and fifth. Terry Duguay comes home sixth after that up and down night that he had. Philip Bridgman seventh. Jensen there in the 99. I believe that's might how you spell his name or pronounce that. And Cottle in the 25 brings it home ninth. And Palmer 10th. That's the top 10. Cheswick 11th. Mark Koshik 12th. Let's see, David Cassidy going to burn it down here this evening at North Wilkesboro.
Alright, we'll talk to our P3 finisher here. Mr. Paul.
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, P3's not so bad with the short amount of times that you turned here. Unfortunately, that outside lane couldn't prevail. A little scuffleage there with a truck that stayed out, which was a little silly, and Cassidy just blew his motor. For those of you who are wondering, but Koshik stayed out, which shuffled up the top 3 of you guys for having a very tight battle there. Why don't you go ahead and give a thorough rundown of how all that took place and how your overall race went?
Well, I'm pleased with the third place finish. I just wish I could have gotten Zach there towards the end. I was getting a little overexcited because I knew I was quicker than he was, but I just couldn't. I tried to get back to the throttle to get him, and it just wasn't happening. I couldn't do it. I was actually a little loose when I was behind Zach, trying to get back to the throttle. But if I could have cleared him, I might have had something for David.
Yes, sir, indeed. Well, you got anything for Paul here?
Well, Paul, next week is going to be Talladega Super Speedway. If you are able to show up and compete next week, what would be the mindset and maybe the thought or the strategy for Talladega?
Stay out front and stay out of the trouble.
That's always the best type of mindset and strategy, but sometimes those wrecks happen in the front. Sometimes you can get turned as the leader. That's just as scary as being back there and somebody flipping towards you.
Yeah, I know that all too well. I've been spun a few times at Talladega and Daytona, but all in all, I think we'll be. I'll be okay there. I'm decent on the super speedways. Should be able to snag the pole over there. So we'll see what happens next week.
With that being said, Paul, any shout outs you'd like to give, or maybe anything else you'd like to add about tonight's race?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to all the guys in here, man. We did. It was a heck of a race to just have a few cautions here. I mean, you can't ask for anything else on a short track, and everybody was respectful. You know, bunch of great guys in here. Love racing with them.
Well, Paul, congratulations on that P3 podium finish here this evening at North Wilkesboro. I know it's a challenging track. Had to overcome some really loose, tricky conditions at some times we saw. Just probably getting back onto the throttle a bit too early, maybe. But other than that, congratulations, and hope to see you next week fighting for a win at Talladega.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys broadcasting like this too. Doing an awesome job.
Thank you, thank you. Best of luck to you, sir, and we'll see what you got next week.
All right, thanks.
No problem. Next up, Zach. Mr. Deutscher, how are you? How are you?
Better than I thought I was going to be.
Wilkesboro's a rough one. It's very rough. It's a I think personally, it's a rhythm track, and you know as well as I know, Cassidy's a short track guy, so he always sets the paces at these short tracks.
He deserved it, that's for sure.
He's very good. Go ahead, Will.
Yes, Zach, we spoke before the race. You said you probably didn't have a long run capability machine, but you qualified. What was it? P3.
P2.
And P2. My apologies. P2. Yes, you did. My bad, Zach.
You're good.
You qualified up there on the front row. You couldn't seem to hang it out there on the outside, unfortunately, to kind of go toe to toe with Cassidy. But what did you feel that you needed that you just didn't have tonight, Zach?
A little more grip and a little more sorry for bad. A little more turn in the corners would be nice. And other than that, it was a good truck. I was surprised how good it was.
Yes, apologies there for the
my
language,
bad, guys.
but
I didn't mean that.
it's okay. We're gonna have to get like a natural bleep machine or something at some point for all the profanity we hear from time to time. But it's okay. Next week, Talladega Super Speedway. Ask the same question to Paul. Pretty much every week, we always ask these same questions. But Talladega's next week. What would be the mindset, strategy, ideology going into Talladega?
Stay out of trouble and you survive. It's a wild card race. We all know how super speedways are. So anybody, literally any of us, could win.
Like me.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. So tonight, you seem to have a pretty good battle there with Paul at a couple of points towards the end of the race. Just kind of talk us about trying to stay in front of Paul. He seems to be a very good, but also aggressive at times competitor.
He's a good friend of mine. I love racing around. There's really no stress because I know he can push as hard as he wants, and we're not going to wreck each other. It's really fun racing. But yeah, my strategy is I had to finish in front of Paul for the points, and I did. So that's a job successful in my book.
Well, congratulations on that podium finish. P2 tonight, North Wilkesboro. Great run for you at a track that you have kind of historically in the past kind of struggled at, and hopefully have a good run next week at Talladega, Zach.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, is there any shout-outs or anything maybe else you'd like to add about tonight's race?
Of course, shout to you guys for broadcasting. We all truly appreciate it. The boys at SRU, great league, fun times. Phil, my good friend / teammates, Aerokinetic, and Ford. Great race for everybody tonight.
Yeah, Ford. Yes, sir. All right, kind sir. Best of luck to you. I'll see you out on the track someday, eventually again.
Well, we will.
I'll get you back up there and we'll get ready to talk to David.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Yeah. Where is David? Jesus.
Yes, apologies for that language yet again, people.
Mr. Cassidy.
I got you.
Well,
So, oh, go ahead, Brian.
now you're good. We might as well said you dominated tonight. There was no one touching you, as well as everybody else. I know how you are when it comes to short tracks. I just tend to try to move out your way the best I can, because I know how you are here. You're very consistent, especially in a lot of these short tracks. But I want to wish you congratulations on the win here at North Wilkesboro. Always a pleasure to see you put the Red Baron in victory lane. So, well, I'll let you take it over.
Yes, David, congratulations. Just like what Brian said, pretty dominant performance here tonight. You kind of had a couple of competitors up there challenging you, but they didn't really last too long. You had Paul Witt out there on your outside on a couple of restarts, really giving you what's for, but you also had Zach Deuscher back there lurking. Talk us about those couple of restarts where Paul was really challenging you, and also just talk us through what you had to do to just stay out front and just be consistent like you are here on the short tracks, David.
Oh, that second run there when Paul started on the outside of me, we battled hard side by side. It was just a matter of just trying to hit my marks without, maybe without overdriving it, sliding up the track, and getting into him, because he was right there. And same as Zach, I was a second ahead of them, but if I would have made any mistakes that were too big of mistakes, I guess I should say, I knew they were going to catch me. So I just tried to hit my marks and try to run as smooth as I could.
David, next week is Talladega, and that has kind of challenges within and of itself, besides, North Wilkesboro having its own challenges. Every track, is different within of itself. And what do you think would be your strategy or mindset going into Talladega?
Pretty much just drive around. That's pretty much what them plate tracks are. You just drive around and hope you avoid the big one.
Yeah, hopefully you can avoid the big one next week. Would there be anything else you'd like to add? Maybe give some shout-outs there, David?
I'll give a shout out to the SRU guys. They're a good group to run with. You guys for doing a great job on the broadcast as usual.
Well, we appreciate that, David. And like I said, congratulations again. Dominant performance. I don't know how you do it on these short tracks. You are just fabulous, man. Every time we come to a short track, you always seem like the guy to beat. Very, very finesse you are. You just know how to get it done. So, Ryan, anything else you'd like to add?
Well, just as like I was going to agree with Will, yes. As I was telling Will earlier, I'm like, David's just a short track king. I said David would prefer short tracks over mile-and-a-half super speedways any day, and you can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But if I can believe that's what you and Terry like, the old short tracks. So
yeah, that's pretty much up here where we are in Canada. That's all we have. You know what I mean? That's what cars we work on. That's what we
late models
drive. Late models and super late models. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
So it's pretty much what we're used to.
Oh yeah, and that's perfect for a short track series. But we could talk about that all night, and so could Terry. Terry had me laughing the other day about all of it, about all the stuff he's seen out there actually on the track. He goes, and you wouldn't believe about how some of these guys act on here. He always said that they wouldn't make it out there in real life if you're on a short track. He goes, sometimes you gotta use the nose, and sometimes you gotta beat it up, as Terry says. But don't do damage to it to where now you're out, and now you gotta fix it, because now you gotta get out and fix the other guys too as well. But
no, it's exactly. A lot of people think that we just race snowmobiles and do all that stuff, but I'll tell you, on the east coast of Canada, like short track racing's huge. Like we got a big super late model series here. We're getting 27, 30 cars with probably 20 out of that 30 that could win every week, and Terry knows because he's one of the drivers. So It's
That's
good.
a good crowd.
That is very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That is very
Yeah.
good.
It's big.
Hell yeah, man. But keep your elbows up. Go ahead and celebrate a few brewskis, and awesome job to you. Hopefully you can put her in victory lane next week if you are here for Talladega.
Yeah, I think I'm off next week. No work next week, so we
Oh, there you
should be
go.
there.
Well, then that works. So, all right, sir. Best of luck to you, and I'll get you back up there.
All right, on. We'll see you later.
Yes, sir. All right, well, you know what to do.
Well, for everyone that came out and tuned in to the BNR Racing Network, we thank you guys for coming out and enjoying your favorite SRU Truck Series drivers and competitors. Next week, like we have mentioned a couple of times, they will be at Talladega Superspeedway next week. And also, the B&R Racing Series, Xfinity Truck and Cup will also be starting back next week. So I believe we will be bringing that action to you as well. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in watching and supporting those drivers over there in that league as well. But until then, catch up with you guys next time. Have a good